One of the trickiest things about scaling a team is realizing that the work doesn't scale the way people do. Your best operators have a way of working that lives entirely inside their head, and this is your invisible layer of success. AI skills are a way to capture it. They're about a page or two of human-readable instructions written in plain language, with optional reference material attached. And the important part is that it looks much more like a cooking recipe than like code. At V7, we've been quietly working on our own system of skills for the past few months, long before it became a worldwide phenomenon. That gave us time to think about how these agent capabilities should be interconnected in a network of knowledge work tasks that often interact with one another. The idea is, if you can explain how you do something in a few pages of text, including which tools you touch and why, then an AI agent can learn to repeat that process reliably for both you and your colleagues. But the way we explain our work usually involves one interface, then another interface, then a task, then a subtask. So we ended up structuring skills into two broad categories. Tool skills are focused on using one app extremely well, like searching images or creating a PowerPoint or redlining a document. These all come out of the box in V7 and you don't need to configure them. User skills are about the actual work to be done and use many tool skills in the process. For example, preparing an investment memo will include reading Excel models, searching SEC filings, querying the CRM, and producing a document. All of this while following a set of specific goals that only you, the user, can define. Individually, these steps are simple, but together, they look a lot like how people actually work. This idea of breaking work into small blocks can sound complex at first, but once you see how easy it is to create a new skill, you'll wonder how you worked without them. You don't need to be technical, you just need to be able to explain what you do. Rather than keeping this abstract, it's easier for us to look at a few skills that are already existing in V7 Go, and ones that we put a lot of care into. Let's start with Excel. Excel is a terrible format for AI to understand, especially once you're dealing with large financial models, multiple tabs, and complex formulas that reference each other across sheets. So we created an Excel skill, which is a tool skill combining AI with a substantial amount of custom code to give you incredibly accurate results on incredibly complex models. We rebuilt Excel parsing from first principles so that the model can traverse thousands of cells and formulas the way an experienced analyst would, following dependencies, calculations, and references end to end. You'll also notice that we can now render entire Excel files within the platform at high fidelity. That's a spoiler, we'll talk about that more soon. The Excel skill becomes the foundation for a lot of high-level work, like preparing board decks or doing due diligence. And another skill we love is deep research. You'll find this in every consumer AI platform, but we chose to do it a bit differently. In V7 Go, deep research can run for as long as you want, adapting its plan as it goes, and use as many other skills as it needs along the way. So it might start with a general web search, then switch to Exa to look up people or companies, then pull high-resolution images, then query scientific papers or retrieve SEC filings for up-to-date financial information. And it doesn't stop at public sources. Because you can point it at your own internal apps as well, it will search those too. We also built skills around the image generation using Nano Banana, but designed specifically for business context. It writes a highly structured JSON prompt, the kind that a human would hate writing, so you get consistent results for infographics, floor plans, or technical diagrams, without the usual embarrassing errors. There's many other skills available off the bat, generating dashboards with complex data visualizations, and almost any chart type that you can think of. Redlining documents to create a marked up version with comments and track changes, creating slideshows, searching LinkedIn, filling in documents, and all of them can be chained in one continuous flow. For example, ask to perform research on a company and then produce a sales deck, or analyze a spreadsheet and fill in the financial information in the memo. The agent figures out which skills to use and in what order. What I'm most excited about is that you'll soon be able to create your own skills in minutes. We're releasing a skill to create a skill, where you just describe what you want the agent to do repeatably, and it will write one taking care of technical best practices and any code that needs to keep things efficient and reliable. Agents are aware of skills created by your colleagues, which means good ways of working spread naturally across the team. And we already use this internally quite a bit. Designers teach agent how to follow our style and color token for slides, whilst the sales team teaches them what information matters for a follow-up deck. We've been talking about generating a lot, but what's also important is that all of these outputs become visible to you immediately, so you can review them, edit them, or ask for changes. Every generation capability is also an editing and improvement function. Your best work often happens when you do more than one iteration on anything that AI touches. We should also briefly talk about security, because agents that execute code can sound alarming. That's why we built Sandcastle, an isolated virtual machine system to run agents so that they can execute arbitrary code without any risk of it affecting other parts of your workspace. We'll go deeper on Sandcastle very soon. We use Skill constantly inside V7, and this is one of the features I'm most excited about because I truly believe it can save huge amounts of time. In fact, the script itself was written using a skill. An agent spent a couple of hours collecting transcripts from talks, podcasts, presentations that I've given, and generated a skill to write in my voice, and then used that skill to draft the first version of the script after a long interview with me. It got about 80% of the way, which I think is pretty good for a first pass. But use cases like these are something we're very cautious about. Any task given to AI that takes 20 seconds to prompt is always going to create slop. But once you let people connect many skills and data into one platform, you can create massive value and help those who care about the craft stay in flow and complete work that matters. If that resonates with you, come give V7 Go a try, and I hope to see you on the platform soon.